Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. And please do remember, if you do not like what I say, how I say it, or why I'm saying it, then please do feel free to click off this video and go about the rest of your day in peace. And so for today's video, we are going to be doing a little bit of an unboxing tour walkthrough of 3 different witchy decks here. So we have the Everyday Witch Tarot, the Witch's Wisdom Oracle cards, and then the Pagan Mini Tarot as well. So I'm super excited to show you guys all of these decks. So let's go ahead. So the first deck that we're going to talk about is the Everyday Witch, and I also forgot to mention that joining us is my 2 new little crystals here. So this is a raw blue calcite, which is actually the same kind of stone as this one over here. That is a honey golden calcite, but calcite is one of my favorite stones, so I'm super happy to get another one. And then this is a leopard skin jasper, if you were curious about that. But we're first going to go ahead and jump into this Everyday Witch Tarot, which I would imagine that some of you guys are probably familiar with this deck, but you know, it's the same publisher as actually a couple of my other decks, so they're a solid publisher. They always do this really nice book with a little tab, and this guidebook here is also all in color. So you got, you know, your breakdown of the message, things to consider, and then I really like this little touch here. So with other tarot books, especially from, you know, this specific publisher and stuff, the notes, there's usually a notes section at the very end of the book, but for this one they actually have a notes section after each of the major arcanas, I believe, so that you can, or at least after each section, so that you can go ahead and write notes about things. So I think that's nice that they give you a little bit more of that note opportunity if you want to take notes in your actual guidebook. So that is what that is. And then we go ahead and we pull this tab and we get the deck, which is going to be out of order, but you know, I love it because it is completely borderless, so you really get into the images. And then the one thing I will say is that, of course, you know, these are the back of the cards, and so you will definitely know if you have one in reverse, if you're somebody who reads reversals. I do not think that this guidebook has descriptions for reversals, so usually I take that as, you know, the authors of this book, I don't know if they mention it at the beginning or not, intended this deck to not be read in reverse, because there are some tarot decks that do specify that right from the beginning, such as the Shadowscapes deck. That one specifically says, you know, we don't have reversals in here. Same with my other deck that I have called the Shapeshifter Tarot. So let's go ahead and just jump into these images. The images are really great. Let me go ahead and zoom in a little bit more so you guys can see them. So here is the 4 of Wands. Oop, got that one upside down. Here is the 8 of Cups. Love that. The Knight of Swords. I really like this one. The Knight of Swords in this deck are also very youthful. They feel more like in their younger teens or teen age, so that's kind of neat. And then we have the 5 of Wands. I love that because I always take the 5 of Wands as kind of an argument amongst a bunch of different people, a group of people, so I can definitely relate to that imagery. And I love the artwork on these. They're just so cute and whimsical and adorable. Here's the World. We have Judgment. We have the Queen of Swords. She's a bit of an older figure, so there's definitely a nice mix between youthful sort of characters and these more of a refined older characters. So we have the King of Pentacles. We have the Page of Cups, which I love this. Actually, I've seen more than one deck that's kind of done the Page of Cups as this artist kind of character, which I can definitely enjoy. And then we have the 8 of Swords, pretty classic in that way. Obviously, this deck is taking inspiration from the Rider-Waite. So we have the Page of Pentacles, the 4 of Cups. I love all the detail in these. The 5 of Cups. We have Justice. I find this Justice interesting because she's kind of peeking out of the blind. We also have the Hanged Man. I like the detail of holding the key to unlock, you know, the chains yourself. We have the 6 of Cups. And then this is the 9 of Swords. We have the 10 of Swords. Ooh, that's a really nice interpretation because we actually see like that sense of backstabbing there. Knight of Pentacles. The Sun. It's a really sweet one. And then this is the King of Wands. The Ace of Pentacles. You see with each one of this, we have like this cat familiar throughout the cards, which is really neat. The Ace of Wands. And we have that kind of like art, the arts, passions, career kind of elements. 2 of Wands. We have the 7 of Swords. The 3 of Cups. The 10 of Pentacles. This is the Queen of Wands. The King of Swords. We have the Ace of Swords. The aces also feel pretty youthful. I have these same boots. Almost. We have the 4 of Pentacles, which this is one of my favorite that I've seen interpretate. One of them of the 4 of Pentacles, because you really get that sense of sort of hoarding this, you know, your treasures, but kind of entrapping yourself at the same time because of that. And we have the 7 of Wands. We have the 8 of Wands. So Strength, which, look at that. That was kind of an interesting little progression there. We also have the 9 of Wands. Still keeping the fight going. Gotta stand your ground. Then we have the 10 of Wands. That heavy burden. The 2 of Pentacles, keeping that balance. 3 of Pentacles, working together. The Emperor card. Stability, wisdom. The Fool. Gonna go ahead and take that leap of faith. Look at the kitty. Again, lots of wonderful little details in these. The Magician. Of course, we have the High Priestess, and I love this with the tarot cards and the rune stones. Crystal ball, very good. The 9 of Cups. The Queen of Pentacles. Death. I think this is a really neat death card. I like it. That tension there. The doorways. It's really cool. 3 of Wands. We have the Lovers. Oh, that's so sweet. And I love the detail with the... Make sure you got that shadow down there. We have the Page of Swords. Temperance. 7 of Cups. We have the 2 of Swords. That's an interesting one. We have the 3 of Swords. Really clear kind of story here. It's great. The 5 of Pentacles. The Ace of Cups. We have the 2 of Cups. It's so cool. And then we, of course, have the Knight of Cups. We have the Hermit. We have the Tower. I like this interpretation of the Tower. She looks very confident and, you know, not scared at all by the fact that the tower is falling, which is a good thing. Page of Wands. We have the Queen of Cups, which is really pretty. I love this. Maybe I just want to go to the beach. 4 of Swords. We have the 6 of Pentacles. We have the 5 of Swords. I like this interpretation of the 5 of Swords because, you know, she's very confident. She feels like a victor, but she's not realizing sort of the suffering of the other people around her, you know, the losers in that case. It's a good way to, you can kind of interpret it in both ways of the meanings for the Five of Swords. Then we have the Seven of Pentacles, you know, cultivating your riches, waiting for the harvest to come. Eight of Pentacles, putting in all that hard work. Then we have the Star. This is such a pretty star. I love it. Then we have the Hierophant. The Moon. This is a really cool moon. I really like how they did this. Then we have the Knight of Wands. The Empress. The Wheel of Fortune. The Six of Swords. The Nine of Pentacles. The King of Cups. I love the mermaid in the background. And then we have the Devil card. This one, you know, this is a pretty creepy devil card. Like, let's be honest here. This is creepy, but it's fantastic at the same time. We also have the Chariot. It's a good Chariot card. We then have the Six of Wands. And finally we have, oh, what a great way to end this. We have the Ten of Cups. Love that card. So that is the Everyday Witch Tarot. And again, you know, this is the same publisher as some of the other decks I have. So the cardstock, it is, you know, flexible, but I wouldn't necessarily call it thin. It doesn't, yes, it kind of feels thin, but it still feels like sturdy enough that it's a nice flexible cardstock so that it's really an easy deck to shuffle for that reason. So with that one, so that is the Everyday Witch Tarot. And of course you can put it back in with that ribbon. And the booklet. So let's go ahead and take a peek at the next one, which is going to be the Witch's Wisdom Oracle cards. So again, we have just this is actually the same publisher, different type of box, you know, an easy kind of standard thing. And then we have our little booklet here, black and white images. It's broken down into like this kind of little poem. We have the Witch's Wisdom, we have the Witch's Foresight, and then the candles revealed. There's a nice like bit of history almost in these cards. It tells you a lot of interesting information about things, you know, your introduction, how to use, simple spreads, all that good stuff. So let's go ahead and take a look at the cards. Now these are really neat because they have a gilded silver edge around all the cards. So that's really pretty. You know, they're, again, some of the other ones, it's like they're sturdy, but they're flexible, so they're not hard to shuffle at all. So let's go ahead and go through this one. We have Witch Healer. Zoom in just a little bit. These have a very dreamy, kind of sparkly feel about them. We have Fire, Passion, Wand, Intention. We have Tarot cards, Guidance. And that's a really neat way of doing it with the actual cards in this deck. We have Samhain with Death. We have Lady Goddess, Feminine. We have Broomstick, Clearance. So it's, you know, each one is kind of related to a different, you know, either a tool or a holiday of some sort. So we have Hand Fasting, Union. We have Pentacle, Respect. We have the Watchtower of the East, Spring. We have Awakening. We have Watchtower of the West, Autumn. With Ancestors, Remembrance. We have Prosperity. We have Protection. Magic with the candles. Altar, Dedication. Homecoming. Air. Imagination. Ooh, I like that. We have Earth, Grounding. We have the high priestess or high priest. It's a nice way of doing that. It's responsibility. So half the face is like masculine, the other half is feminine. That balance. Hex, banishment. We have the moon, cycles, witch's hat, power. We have watchtower of the north with winter. Mabon, balance. Familiar, guardian. Lord God, masculine. We have the Wiccan, what is that? Read? Ethos. Chalice, fulfillment. Book of Shadows, secret. We have spell, manifestation. Astara with incubation. Cloak, concealment. Spirit, initiation, right? Yeah. Cauldron, containment. Homeland, foundation. Let's see, ritual. Invocation. Water, cleansing. Herbal kitchen, alchemist. We have intensification. Let's see, we have boundaries, fertility, rebirth, which is cottage security, watchtower of the south, summer, scrying mirror, shadow, that little phase coming out in there. Then we have staff with stability. So I definitely think of these cards. They're really good, especially if you have like any sort of time questions. I think there's enough cards in here that it really can lend itself to, you know, asking questions specifically about when, you know, you could expect something to manifest a certain period. You know, obviously we have a good amount of cards here. Did I miss that one? I think there was a passion card in here. I don't know if I missed it or not. Fire, maybe. You know, we have the elements, we have different tools that can lend itself to maybe like purposes. So I think this is all around it's a well-rounded deck. So it lends itself to multiple different questions. Of course, some Oracle decks, you know, they work better for certain types of questions, while others you need something a little bit more specific in mind. I think this is, you know, it has a good amount of everything about it. And finally, we're going to do the Pagan Mini Tarot. So I was super attracted to this deck. I absolutely love it. I can't wait to go through this. So, you know, for those of you guys who maybe you're not super interested in a mini deck, so of course, you know, comparison. There is I believe it's going to be like a standard tarot size kind of box set coming out soon, and it's going to have, you know, a full booklet and all that great stuff. So my one complaint for this one is that the box is a bit hard to open once you close it. So maybe that's just like operator error happening, but I definitely had issues trying to open it, which, you know, it's a good thing because it, you know, it means that the deck was nice and secure in there and wasn't going to fall out. So, you know, this gives you an idea of what the back of the cards look like. So it can be obviously reversed. You know, this is just the standard little like extra card here. There's also a blank card. So I take that as like you could probably decorate this and make your own one to add into the mix. And then the booklet, it's real simple. Real simple. You know, they actually give you a little spread, you know, a little introduction about it. Then we get into the major arcanas, and now I feel like some of the meanings are not quite as traditional as, you know, the normal Rider-Waite, which I'm perfectly fine with because it lends itself to what the imagery of the card is. And then I will say that, you know, for when it comes to the court cards in this deck, you know, they're known as the Elemental, the Novice, and Initiate, and then the Elder. So the Elemental is like the Page, Novice I think is like the Knight, Initiate is the Queen, and Elder would be like the King. And so you have very nice short little message, like definitions for the cards. And then the rest of the book is actually in a multitude of languages. So if you happen to be foreign or you have foreign friends, you know, this is definitely a good deck if you're looking for something in multiple languages. So let's go ahead and open this up and go through the cards. They're so cool. They're definitely, because there's a lot of details in these, and you know, seeing them via like a video like this may not do them completely justice. Like actually seeing them in person is really neat. They have a neat energy about them, and they're very modern with the art, so I love that too. So of course we have the first one, the card 0, the Fool, and I like this kind of interpretation because it's like that infinite possibilities kind of feeling, and you know, kind of reaching out into the dark, not knowing exactly where you're going, but just going for it, kind of that kind of Fool energy. And then we have the Magician. And the other thing I love about these is that a lot of the cards, as you go through them, kind of tell a story. So we have the High Priestess. Let's see if I can zoom in a little bit closer. We have the Empress, like that, 3 generations. We have the Emperor. We have the Hierophant. So this is a pretty different interpretation as far as imagery goes for the Hierophant, so that was pretty surprising. In fact, let me go ahead and go into the little booklet, because this was one that definitely stood out to me because the meaning is a little bit different from what you normally would expect, I think, with the Hierophant, in a sense. So the Hierophant: fear that comes from the awareness of being different and the need for equilibrium in society. So I think that's a really interesting one. And then we have the Lovers. This is another interesting one. I actually want to see what they wrote down for this one. Oop. Lovers: a choice between 2 directions, alternatives that repeat or return. So yeah, I personally really like this interpretation of the Lovers, because, and it's kind of that echo. I mean, see what I mean by these telling like a story? Because that is like the Empress and the little girl from that card are standing here as she's making this choice about what direction to go in. And, you know, because that is one of the major interpretations of the Lovers. It is a choice kind of card, you know, a decision to go in a certain direction, and to make a choice between 2 things, while of course still being, you know, obviously a lot of the time when we see the Lovers card, it is pretty literal as like 2 lovers, but that is sort of some of the other alternative ways of looking at the Lovers card. It's a choice, and then also just coming to a time where you're finally accepting all of who you are and making your own way, kind of like an evolution from the Hierophant, which is all about, you know, that kind of rigid, already traditional structures. So the Lovers is kind of coming in and making the choice to do your own thing, I feel like. So then we have the Chariot, which is a literal car. That's awesome. We have Strength. Oh, the other thing I will warn for you guys as I'm flipping through this, there is some nudity in this deck, so just be prepared to see that. We have the Hermit card, again, a really classic way of showing this, all that studying. I love how modern it all is. We have the Wheel. We have Justice. We have the Hangman. Now, this is another one that I really like. Because, you know, it's not, she's not literally hanging upside down, but it's sort of that needing to have faith in kind of the universe, trusting, you know, that you're going to be led in the right direction. And then we have a wonderful progression here with from the Hangman to Death, and, you know, they're removing the blindfold, and we have that butterfly to represent transformation. And then we have Temperance. We have the Devil card. So this is a really interesting interpretation of the Devil card. I actually want to read what they put down in the little description here for this card. Let's see. The Devil: temptation, oppression, following roads we don't believe to be ours. So yeah, it's an interesting way of interpreting that as an image. And then we have the Tower. So here's your first one with the nudity. And you know, again, I like this interpretation of the Tower because it's just like realizing that, you know, something isn't really for you anymore. It's not exactly what you thought it was, so you need to walk away from it. And then we come into the star. So it's like she walks away and then she sees the star and she realizes like what her path is really meant to be. She gets that calling. And then we go into the moon, and now she's like practicing on her own. So I really like that progression. And then we have the Sun card. We have Judgment, and this is a fantastic Judgment card because it's literally like going back into karma and seeing past lives. This sort of past life regression session. That's really neat. And then finally we have the World. So that balancing of all the elements. I like that we have both like the feminine figure and the male figure because that's part of the balance of sort of the world, I feel like. And then we get into the minor suit. So we have the Ace of Chalices. We have the Two of Cups. That's a fun one. I like that. We have the Three of Cups, just hanging out with friends, having a good time. We have the Four. I kind of take this as like she was waiting for somebody to show up and then they didn't. Almost kind of missing an opportunity maybe, you know. Then we have the Five of Cups. We have the Six of Cups. The Seven of Cups, all those choices. The Eight of Cups, I like, you know, the detail of having the cups actually overturned because you're walking away from them. And then we have the Nine of Cups. And then the Ten of Cups. Then here we go. So this is like essentially, I would take it as like the page of this suit. So, you know, the essence of emotions is what this is considered. So it's elementals. I like that they have the elementals in here. So they're not exactly perfectly comparable to like the page, the knight, the king, and the queen, but they still kind of represent, I feel like, a little bit like that, because I think of the page, they're very youthful and kind of wild in a sense, because they're just like an untested kind of energy. So then we have the Novice of Chalices, which says, you know, energies at the service of emotions. The Initiate of Chalices, which is the maturity of emotions. And then we have the Elder of Chalices, which is the wisdom of emotions. So that's a nice progression, you know, the growth of that. And so the other thing I will say, as you notice when we go through these minor suits, is that they're broken up pretty equally when it comes to gender. So it's like two of the suits are all feminine for the court cards, and then the other one, it's all masculine. So that's a nice balance, I think. So now we have the Ace of Pentacles, the Two of Pentacles, rushing around trying to balance everything. The Three of Pentacles, so working together. Four of Pentacles. I think this is a really interesting interpretation of the Four of Pentacles. In fact, I want to see what it says for this. Commissions, foresight, irrational concern for the future. Then we have the Five of Pentacles, which economic difficulties, lack, dependence on others, time for time of discouragement. And what a way to show this. It's like waiting in a long line at like a bank. It's crazy. Nobody enjoys that. And then we have the Six of Pentacles. It's like taking out a loan, I would think, like somebody being charitable to you. And then we have the Seven of Pentacles. I really like this image a lot. This is one of the, because I randomly kind of stumbled upon this deck, and this was one of the images that I initially saw of it, and I just loved it. And then we have the Eight of Pentacles, the Nine of Pentacles, finally the Ten of Pentacles. You know, because the Ten of Pentacles has like kind of that tie to family inheritance, so I feel like, you know, she's kind of going through like family heirlooms, tidying up the old to make room for the new. So yeah. Then we have the Elemental of Pentacles. I love this. It's a gnome. What does it say exactly? The essence of things. And then we have the Novice of Pentacles, the Initiate of Pentacles, and the Elder of Pentacles. Then we come into the Wand suit. So here's the Ace, the Two of Wands, starting to look into that journey. Then we have the Three of Wands. I love that little detail. You know, searching for something. Then we have the Four of Wands, the Five of Wands, Six of Wands, Seven of Wands, the Eight of Wands, the Nine of Wands. And as far as story, it definitely feels like from that Four of Wands, it's like they're married now. Then we have the Ten of Wands, and then we have the Elemental of Wands, and the Novice, the Initiate, and the Elder. And then we get into the last suit, I believe, which is the Ace of Swords. So I love this. So this is the Two of Swords in this deck, and it is so cool. I love it. It's just creepy, but it's fantastic at the same time. And then we have the Three of Swords, Four of Swords, Five of Swords, disagreements, definitely. That progression, getting ready, resting before the battle. And then we have the Six of Swords, walking away from that, ending that journey, running away from it, or just getting away from it. Seven of Swords, the Eight of Swords, and then the Nine of Swords, finally the Ten of Swords, where she's just finally breaking them and ending that cycle. Again, the very, different way of showing that. Okay, they're just gonna fall over the place. And then we have the Elemental of Swords, it's that air energy. Finally the Novice, the Initiate, and of course the Elder. So yes, that is the Pagan Tarot. So let's go ahead and just try to test out shuffling these. Of course, they're very mini, so, but I love it. I think it was really fun to have a little mini deck in my collection. Again, it's going to be a little bit of a learning curve on how to shuffle these the way that works the best. But again, these are nice, especially if, I feel like if you want to travel, if you're going places, you may not want to bring like a full-size deck with you, but you still want to have like the tarot with you. This is a really good, I think, size. It totally fits in a tiny little purse. I've already tested it out. So yeah, the only thing I would say is that for this deck, for me personally, I might want to get a different box or maybe like a little bag to carry it in, just because, again, I have major operator error and I have the hardest time opening back up this specific deck box. But usually especially when you have like boxes like this, I have no problem keeping it in the tarot in their boxes like this because they're just so sturdy. They don't look bad, so it's not a problem. But when it comes to like kind of like these soft paper ones, I'm a little bit more like on the fence about actually getting something else to keep them in. So yes, that is the Pagan Tarot, the Witch's Wisdom Oracle, and the Everyday Witch. So I hope you guys like this little walkthrough. If you found it interesting, if you want to check out these decks for yourself, definitely do so. So yes, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.